Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, this is Kenya Revolutionary. Karibu sana, karibu sana. This is the late night. Sorry, guys, I have been out of the matrix for a minute, but I'm back. I will put a link here today. As you can see, the matter is Raila officially concedes defeat to Ruto and Kenya Kwanza government. Officially, he does so. I'll explain why. If you've been living under the rock, I'll tell you why. And his action today by giving the joint press conference with Musalia Mudavadi, the Prime Cabinet Secretary from Kenya Kwanza government, Ruto's errant boy, Musalia Mudavadi, just confirms it. It's a way. It's a way of. It's an official way of basically saying, you know what, I everything I do from now on depends on this Kenya Kwanza government, which I find to be pusillanimous from the ODM side. I was expecting them, not ODM side, but as EMU in general, I was expecting them to put a fight. I was expecting them to put this front that they were fighting for the wananchi for a longer time, but it seems that the mask is off now. It's official. These guys cannot keep up. So let's get to that. I will put the link for anybody and everyone who wants to get to join in to discuss this. We shall enjoy. The link is up there. Link is up there in the chat. Do not waste any time. You know, the first order of business is to like the video. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please go ahead, go to my YouTube channel. My name is Kenya Revolutionary. As you can see down there. Hurry up and subscribe. Once you subscribe, you just don't hit the subscribe button only, but you put your notification on. So every time I come on, you can always get that. Yeah. Your alarm inakuja, ping. The bell tells you that, hey, I'm here, I'm live, and you can join me in the discussion. Now, let's see here. Let me just make sure that all my stuff is on point before we get started. I want us to together, let's review, let's look at what happened. Okay? Look at what happened today with the press conference before I break it down and give you my views on it. Now, since, I know most of you are sleepy or whatever, if you're off work and you're bored and you're just watching, I'll play the whole press conference to be exact so we can hear from the horse's mouth what was said from Mudavadi's side and what was said from Raila's side. All right? So let's get to it. Mko karibu. Mko sawa. Link ndio hiyo in the chat. If you guys want to get in, for those of you who are an X, if you want to get in, you have to go to my YouTube on the chat. And then you can see that. Actually, I can, I might just throw it in there. Here's the link for the discussion. Here. Oh, well, I can't. Never mind. I was thinking of something else. But anyway, yeah. So for those of you who are X who want to join in, you have to come to my YouTube and see the chat. You can see I've highlighted the stream, the StreamYard if you want to get to the studio and come have a discussion, or you can just join me in the chat on the comment section. If not, I will ramble and fluff and waffle till I'm done. Okay, so karibu sana. Okay, let's get to it. What transpired today, ladies and gentlemen, brothers, sisters, friends, and comrades? What transpired today? It was Raila and Musalia Mudavadi, right? Salia Mudavadi press conference today, right? Let's play it so we can get kind of what they were talking about. Mko ready? So I'll play it for you guys. It was a joint press conference. All right, let's get started. I'll play it. Will I give you? All right. Will I give you guys time to kind of come in, log in? Like, share, comment, and all that good stuff. All right, let's get started. Here we go. And all right. Okay, I just pressed on the wrong thing, so give me a few seconds. Let me see what I'm doing. All right, here it is. Mudavadi and Raila.
Africa to nominate a candidate for the position of African Union Commission chairperson. Therefore, as per the schedule of the AU elections calendar, the deadline for the submission of the regional nominations to the AU Commission is 6th August 2024, 2 months from now. Overall, the campaigns are led by the state with highly experienced and knowledgeable officers. The State Department for Foreign Affairs has established a campaign secretariat which includes the candidates' strategy team. The secretariat will prepare all the briefs for use by the candidates, develop campaign materials, including digital presence, and prepare for the public debate to be broadcast live to African citizens. This will take place 6 months before the election date. Currently, the team is firming up preparatory and application documents together with requisite translations of the resume into 6 AU languages. That is French, English, Kiswahili, Arabic, Portuguese, and Spanish. This should be ready for submission to the AU Secretariat by the end of June 2024. An empirical campaign strategy has been developed, which includes identifying opportunities, challenges, and risks that our candidature faces. Additionally, the campaign involves outreach programs to capitals of AU member states, briefing of Kenya missions abroad, and engagements with diplomatic corps in Nairobi. Kenya is certain that our candidate, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, has credentials and the passion to advocate for Africa's interests globally and champion for more opportunities for Africa and her people. I now invite the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga to make his remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Wycliffe. We have had a meeting with the Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, my brother, Honorable Wycliffe Musale Mudavadi, who led a team of government officials. This was in regard to my candidacy for the African Union Commission chairmanship. I wish to reiterate the obvious, that I am vying for a position in Africa, not in the government of the Republic of Kenya. But I need the endorsement of the government of Kenya for that African position. At this meeting, we exchanged notes on the state of the quest so far, the preparations from my side and the government side, and the next steps that require to be taken. The Honorable Prime Cabinet Secretary shared with me the situation and levels of preparation and commitment in the government. I have been very encouraged by the number of senior government officials offering to be part of this journey out of an understanding that we are in this as Kenya and not as partisan political parties. I appreciate the offer of support. I shared with the government team the situation and my levels of preparation from outside the government. I assured the team that on my own, I'm making every effort, tapping into my experience, relationships, and understanding of the continent to win the support of as many nations as I can. With committed and proper coordination between my team and the government, we should be able to clinch the seat. We agreed that coordination and synergy are going to be critical as we embark on the next critical steps that include the submission of my application. We therefore agreed on the need for efficiency, the need to cut bureaucracy, and unveil a well-oiled and flexible joint effort going forward. Like all campaigns, plans emerge and change suddenly. Demands arise and change suddenly, and we need to be able to respond to them as suddenly as they emerge. We also agreed on the need to understand the sensitivities in this quest that include national, regional, continental, and global dimensions to this quest, and therefore the need to always act responsibly, bearing all these sensitivities in mind. Once again, I thank Kenyans, the government for the support, and the promise to keep updating the country on the status of the race. As I conclude, I just want to say that I have been requested by many friends, because many people have been surprised and been wondering how I came to this. Many of my friends from outside Kenya approached me and told me that this position of AU chairmanship is becoming vacant next year. They have looked around the continent and feel that among the people who may offer themselves, you have the best credentials to take this organization forward. After lots of soul searching and consultations among my colleagues and friends, I made the decision to agree to accept the requests. As you know that I had been the African Union High Representative on Infrastructure Development for 5 years. That position gave me an inside picture of what is happening in the AU, what the potentialities are in the AU, what are the challenges, and what are the weaknesses that they exist there. I believe that I have sufficient knowledge and experience to be able to move the AU forward. AU is an institution that was founded by the founding fathers of our nation. And their dream was an Africa that was united, an Africa that was cohesive, an Africa that was developed. The development of Africa can only be done by Africans. I am myself a Pan-Africanist and an Afro-optimist. Afro-optimist as opposed to Afro-pessimist. Afro-pessimists are the people who have given hope in Africa, say that Africa is a lost cause, it's a condemned continent. Afro-optimists are those who believe in the ability of the African people to develop Africa. That Africa, the richest continent on the planet Earth in terms of resources, is also the poorest in terms of development. This is the paradox that we want to solve. We want Africans to be able to take charge of Africa. We want to expand the communication and trade among the African people. I was telling my brother here that when I was a student in Europe in the 60s, it was a nightmare to travel across the continent of Africa, of Europe. In Europe, to move from one country to the other, you needed a visa. And if you did not have a visa to transit in one country, they arrested you at the border and returned you where you come from. Today, you can travel across the whole of Europe, the Schengen visa. You want to enter somewhere and you can go to all parts of Europe. Yet in Africa, you still have a problem. Aliko Dangote, one of the most prominent African businessmen, was saying just the other day that he needs 35 visas to travel across the continent of Africa. His French counterpart, who is his competitor, does not need using a French passport. With a Nigerian passport, you need 35 visas to travel on the continent of Africa. You ask yourself why? Why can you not have one African visa? It can be done. We can connect the whole of this continent. And that's why I've been talking of the story of African lion. But the African lion must wake up now and claim the 21st century as the African century. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
Thank you, the Right Honorable.
Okay. That was an interesting speech by the two. But the question that I would ask myself or ask someone is, we've known, Raila made it clear when he was with Obasanjo, when they had that press conference months ago. They made it clear, Raila made it clear that he will be vying for that seat as the AUC seat, okay? So what was the purpose of having this whole huge press conference with all the fluff and pomp, as if there were a bunch of two heads of state having a huge summit, in railway downtown somewhere in Nairobi? What was the whole point of calling a press conference for that? Like, what's new? Then Musalia Mudavadi comes out and tells us, oh, we are going to translate his CV into 6 different languages. Okay, is that something to call the press conference and tell us that? Musalia Mudavadi again has told us before. He'd made press conference from his office telling us that he will be, traveling up and down, having his diplomatic shuttle to try to convince other heads of states to vote for Raila Odinga. Why have this huge press conference, so to speak, with the podium all decorated as if they are 2 heads of state, to just tell Kenyans that, oh yes, by the way, we are supporting Raila Odinga? Then to make matters even more funnier, comical than it already is, Raila Odinga walks down the corridors and tells us that the government endorsed him. The government endorsed him. No, the government did not endorse you. It is the government, okay, who choose who they want. They pick their own candidate and forward it in the New African Union. Okay, it's forwarded to the AU for an official, for you to become an official candidate. And as Musalia Mudavadi has told us that in August 6th, I believe, of this month, 2 months from now, that's when officially the names shall be put forward for the candidates who are going to be running on the election that's going to take place in February of next year, I believe. So with all this said, okay, what was the need of a huge press conference where, it was so stupid. You saw they first met in front of the cameras and they were hugging each other. They were all dressed in these suits, walking down the corridors. Then they took up the podium with all these clowns besides them, like Wandai and all the other faces who are idol faces that were standing beside them. What is this? Just to tell us that Raila is running for AU? What is this? That you're going to translate his CV to 6? Who is advising these people? Like, what? Ay. I get it. You're running for AU. Why are you calling a press conference? You already did that with Obasanjo. Why do we need all this pomp? Why should it be breaking news? Raila Odinga is coming. We've known that since I don't know what, April. And this was part of the deal after Ruto probably paid you to stop the Mandamano. So why are you giving us this speech about Afro pessimists, Afro optimists, Pan-Africanist bullshit that we don't buy? There's nothing Pan-Africanist about Raila Odinga. I'm sorry. There's nothing Pan-Africanist about you. Leading your followers to die in the streets of Nairobi and Kisumu and countrywide, getting shot. Thousands of them got shot, died in your hands because of you, and you never even had a discussion about compensating the families of your supporters who you ordered to flood the streets so that you can have a chance to sit down with Ruto. Ruto paid you, and now here you are suited up, giving a press conference, lecturing us about Afro-pessimism and Afro-optimism. What the fuck is this shit? What is this? This is clown shit. Like I said, if you've noticed, Raila has been quiet for a month, maybe. A month, or even longer than that. And Gachagua has been grabbing all the headlines by his nonsense about Mount Kenya and one vote, one bullshit stuff. Oscar Sudi and Gachagua have been active, making noise. So our buddy wanted to make a grand return with a huge press conference telling us nothing, absolutely nothing of substance. What's there? What's new that he... Let me just ask yourself this. What exactly did Musalia Mudavadi and Raila Odinga say that was new that we should go, that was worth the wait for us to listen to that shit show that they had at that railroad, whatever? What was the point? Everything they said, we already knew. This was only done to do what? To grab the headlines. Again, Raila probably found Mudavadi, set up this thing so he can stay relevant. He wants to stay in the headlines. He doesn't want to be irrelevant. Nobody cares. You're going to AUC, so be it. Go. Kenyans don't care. People have moving on. Everyone is talking about finance bill. But Raila wants to be in the center of everything. So, let me call a press conference. Let me call Mudavadi. Let's set up something there. And they did it to the railway, whatever the case is, where it was. With 2 podiums and cameras and a bunch of idiots standing beside them. For what? To remind us again that Raila Odinga is going to AUC and they are going to translate his CV into 6 different languages. I mean, what the fuck is this shit? Anyway, there was reactions. Let's get to the reactions. The reactions were amazing from the people. I'll tell you that. That I will tell you. Who do I start with? Let me start with Miguna. I love this. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed, ladies and gentlemen. Like the video. Do not waste any time. Let me read you the reaction. Because they were sweet. All right. It all started with this. Let me start from the latest one or the older one. Then we shall come in and read the other stuff. Okay. Okay. So here, let me see. Anyway, let me get started. Are you there? Let me just highlight the whatever so you can see what I'm reading. Okay. All right. Let me start. Okay, the first comment here. Let me go to Miguna's page because that's where the fun is. He'll call it as it is. Okay. All right, let's go to that. Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga is a clown. He needs to find something to do with his life. For real. Like, this man needs to retire. There's Miguna's page. He highlights the Star newspaper, what the Star newspaper said. Now, here it is. This was 12 hours ago. I was not there, so yeah. Anyway, he says, the conman surrender is complete. Doing the same thing for 40 years and expecting different results is lunacy. Good luck, Nyawawa. To the chop. Anyway, just to give it a little context, this is Miguna was reacting to. He was reacting to the article there on Star newspaper page, which said this basically. Let me read it real quick. Speaking during a joint media briefing with Prime Cabinet Secretary and Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, Raila noted that he needs the endorsement of Kenya Kwanza to succeed. Yes, we've been knowing that. I know it's so funny because in the beginning when Raila Odinga mentioned that he was running for AUC seat, some of his supporters were trying to paint the picture that Raila does not need Ruto. It is Ruto who needs Raila to... And I kept on telling them, I mean, some of these people are impossible. I kept on telling them, there's no way Raila can become a candidate of AUC in position without being presented or being his name being forwarded by the country of origin, okay, where he belongs to. Of course, Raila is Kenyan, yes. Raila cannot just arbitrarily just say, okay, I'm running for AUC. It is the government of the day, the president, the state, the administrative part of the state of Kenya, who is the president of Kenya, through his minister Musalia Mudavadi, has to forward the name of Raila and say, hey, this is our candidate for the AUC seat. Raila cannot just by himself stand up and say, I'm running for the position. because he will be disqualified if you can't just do that. You have to have your country forward your name. So whichever way you slice it, Raila could not be a candidate without Ruto forwarding his name, telling AUC, hey, listen, this is our guy. This is the name from the East African bloc, Kenya country. This is our candidate, because all the countries of East Africa shall have their candidates presented by the head of the state of their specific country. Okay, so you can't say, "Oh, I'm running for Kenya." No. That's why we know that was part of the deal that he made with Ruto to stop the maandamano. So Ruto akampatia pesa, probably, allegedly, he got paid, then gave him that position of AUC, or rather, not gave him, but promised to forward his name as the candidate, the Kenyan candidate for the AUC seat. You understand? So when Raila comes and says that the government endorsed him, he's being disingenuous. The government does not endorse you. It is the government who forwards your name. Okay? And they did that because that was the part of the deal for you to stop the maandamano that you're doing. Okay? So now he says he basically gives up, and he gives props, rightfully says the government through Musalia Mudavadi, they are going to work for him. I mean, not work for him, but work to help him get that seat. Okay? Yani ujamaa he wants sifa ndogo ndogo. He wants his supporters who don't know better. Okay? They don't know better. He wants his supporters to think that, you know what, it wasn't me who went to Ruto. It was Ruto who felt that I was qualified so I can go. That's why you hear him say that some of my friends consulted me and thought that I had the best CV to run for that seat. So after soul searching and all this nonsense, he's telling us that after some soul searching and consultation from my colleagues, Nika decided, okay, let me run for... No, stop lying, Raila Odinga. The reason why you agreed to go for this AUC seat is because Ruto alikupatia kitu kidogo akakwambia, hey, wachana na mambo ya maandamano, I'll help you find this AUC seat. That's why you kukubali. And I'm telling you, if Raila does not get that AUC seat, yeah, if he doesn't get it, Plan B, Nininio. What's that? Remember I told you guys, Plan B is NADCO. Why do you think NADCO hasn't been implemented yet? Wanangoja. Plan B ni NADCO. And NADCO is basically his BBI. Changing of the constitution and creating new positions which will accommodate Raila Odinga and his minions. But the question that I want you to answer, you as the listener who's watching this, ask yourself, was that press conference necessary? All the things that they told us, we already knew. Why are you telling us? Why all the pomp and nonsensical things you're telling us? You Dangote. Who cares about Dangote? The Afro pessimist. What the fuck is that? Raila is a clown. That's why I keep on saying Raila needs a job to do. You have to keep this mzee busy. He's at the retirement age. He's bored to death. And for the past 30 years or so, he's used to have limelight. He always wants his name in the headlines. When he didn't have anything to do, remember when people died in Shakahola? Alikuwa anajaribu kwenda Shakahola at the scene of the crime, and he had to be stopped by the police. The security forces wakamwambia, hey, where's ingia hapa? Why was he doing that? What was he trying to prove? He just wanted headlines. Okay, him and Mudavadi wameenda hapo hivyo. For what? To tell us that it's doing nini? we know you're running for it. You already told us. Mudavadi already told us this, that watakuninio. Ruto told us, wakina Oscar Sudi wakatuambia, wakina Ichungwa wakasema they'll try to help you so you can get that seat in AUC. We already knew that. Na we pia ulishatuambia vile ulisimama hapo na Obasanjo ukatuambia tunaenda AUC, you're running for that seat. What's the need of this whole big ninio? Kwa sababu no one was talking about Raila. Raila wants to be the headline. You always remember, unakumbuka ile ninio, funeral ya Mukami, the wife of Dedan Kimathi. In his usual fashion, he came in late so that people can stand up and clap for him. Hey, baba mengia. Akavana ile kofi. Yani, sifa ndogo ndogo. Chali. Ay. Like I said, for the past month or two, Raila has been quiet. He didn't have anything. He doesn't have shit to say because nothing really concerns him. Because Ruto Shamcha Panel, he already got paid. He can no longer, he cannot talk bad about this government. Ali Jaribu. Remember when he tried to talk to Jaribu hapo Mombasa? Then Miguna went to Obina and shut that shit down. Na akanyamaza. Kimya. And since then, he has never the government. Hajawahi kusema kitu about the government. His name is not making any headlines. The only headlines that we had was he was telling Wakina Oparanya and Nani Oparanya and who else? This Joho Watulie was zero ODM, I don't know what, and funerals, going to the funeral. No one was paying him attention. Akaenda London hapo na Sifuna. Sina ametoka London using na Sifuna. UK. So no one was talking about him. People were talking about finance bill and Gachagua. Finance bill and Gachagua. That was the topic. No one was paying attention about Raila. Because he's irrelevant. Raila not fighting against the government of the day is hana content. Raila hana content. He's known to be the opposition guy. So now Ruto Asham Ninio accommodate by promising this AUC seat, hana content. So what's the best way to do it? Huge press conference. He has to be in katikatia, everything. You'll see. Okay, you'll see this week there'll be nothing going on. Utamsikia yeye pia atarukia kwa hiyo ninio. He'll say something about finance bill. Atasema utamwona atamrukia hapo hivyo. Sijui nini. You'll see. Because he's irrelevant. The guy is an empty suit. He had the chance to be somebody, a great man of this country, but he betrayed the struggle. He betrayed the struggle not once, not twice, not thrice. So here he is, ridiculous, calling press conferences to say what? Nothing. Hakuna substance. Ati unatuambia ati we ni pan-Africanist, sijui we ni sijui pessimist, sijui nini, upuzi mingi. Ati sijui I used to be, sijui the head of infrastructure. What are you saying? What are you saying, Raila Odinga? You're saying a bunch of nothing. If you want to make headlines, end up call NTV, join Okiomtata with Wamuchomba and Badi, discuss about finance bill. We shall see the substance in you. But you can't. Because umenunuliwa. You can't even play the opposition anymore. Ruto ameshakumaliza. 10-0 because you are cheap. You are bought and sold like anybody. Bore kabisa. Bore. If you stood up against Kibnani, ungesimama against Uhuru, you would still have the respect. Watu wangekuwa na receive na passion. I saw you the last time you went to Mombasa. Nobody cares. Unaenda hapo tu watu wakusikia, baba, only those ODM people who are still wamelipwa wanakaa hapo. You see nowadays ODM is giving people ninio. Wanapatiana chakula. Because there's nothing. What are they going to tell you? Martha Karua ndio huyo ameenda kuninio. I mean, Martha Karua is not ODM but Azimio. Martha Karua is trying to be the head of Mount Kenya. Unamwona huyo na Limuru 3 na Kioni. Babu Owino ndio huyo anang'ang'ana hapa. He was trying to take over the ODM. Oparanya is busy trying to keep up with his 4 wives. Hana shughuli mingi. Wewe ati AU. Nakwambia ukirukwa hii AU wewe. Raila, you're the biggest disappointment in Kenya. Kenya's struggle. Biggest, I'll repeat it. Raila Amolo Odinga is the biggest disappointment in the Kenyan struggle for liberation. Tusome tweets. That was the first tweet. 20 tweet engine. Here it is by Meguna. Conman Raila Odinga claims that he was surprised by the Kenya Kwanza support for his candidacy for the AUC. How so when AUC candidates are nominated and submitted by member states? Raila's AUC candidacy is a deal he signed with President William Ruto in April 2023. He sold his supporters who were murdered all over the country by security agents during maandamanos. He had organized as choreographed acts of extortion, just like he has sold Kenyans since 1982. Oh, yo, the chop, cake idwogi, yamomarach. We're going to say it like it is. He basically said what I was saying. You can't claim that the government endorsed you. No, you are not endorsed. It is William Ruto who nominated you through his cabinet. Walisema wacha tukupatie hii kazi kwa sababu unapiga makelele hapa maandamano. And you use those poor youth in Kisumu, most of them from your own tribesmen, who died in vain to get you to the negotiating table. Mkienda mkikozi mnavunja vitu hapo ile highway hapo na mambo mengine. Kids were shot, people were shot, no compensation. And you had the audacity to join hands with Uhuru, who was shooting people down in 2017, dumping bodies in River Yala. In fact, I would wish for Uhuru Kenyatta to actually run for that AUC seat and get it. He's in South Africa. He's making rounds. He was in alipeleka rigging huko South Africa. That would be the best script ever written. But yeah, Miguna is right here. I said it. Conman Raila Odinga claims that he was surprised by the Kenya Kwanza. He wasn't surprised. He's acting as he was surprised. He claimed that he was surprised by the Kenya Kwanza support for his candidacy for the AUC. How so? When AUC candidates are nominated and submitted by member states, it is Ruto who submitted that because they got into that negotiated that handshake. Raila's AUC candidacy is a deal he signed with President William Ruto in April 2023. He sold his supporters who were murdered all over the country by the security agents during the maandamanos he had organized as a choreographed acts of extortion, just like he has sold Kenyans since 1982. So let him not pretend that, they are endorsing you. They're not endorsing you. Wewe ulishauzwa bana. Ulishauzwa kitambo. You are a prostitute, political prostitute. Conman, name those friends from outside Kenya who care more about some faceless friends from outside Kenya than you do not care. You do about Kenyans. What an unpatriotic statement disqualifies you for the AUC position. This is the clip that Muguna is actually referring to.
And feel that among the people who may offer themselves, I have been requested by many friends, because many people have been surprised and been wondering how I came to this. Many of my friends from outside Kenya approached me and told me that this position of AU chairmanship is becoming vacant next year. They have looked around the continent and feel that among the people who may offer themselves, you have the best credentials to take this organization forward. After lots of soul searching and consultations among my colleagues and friends, I made the decision to agree to accept the requests. As you know that I had been the African Union High Representative on Infrastructure Development for 5 years. That position gave me.
I had that speech before. But anyway, that is what Miguna was saying. Conman, name those friends from outside Kenya. You care more about some faceless friends from outside Kenya than you do about Kenyans. What an unpatriotic statement. Disqualifies you for the AUC position. Okay? So, this guy, anyway, Raila Odinga he's a liar. He's a con man. And he has led thousands of youth, most of them being his tribesmen from Kisumu, okay, to their deaths with no compensation while he flies around private jet, conning more people. This guy is a joke. Okay? A whole press conference saying a bunch of nothing. I tried to listen. I was trying to see what they're going to talk about. There's nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There's nothing he was saying. That's what I'm saying. Raila Odinga needs to retire. He needs to retire. But we should give him something to do, not the AUC. Raila Odinga should be given a job. He should be the designated political speaker in funerals. Designated political speaker in weekend funerals. Raila should be the new delegated with the position as a speaker, political speaker, since they like speaking about politics in funerals, as the uyo, yeye, yodio kazi yake. That's his job. He has outlived his stupidity, his usefulness. His usefulness. He's a liability. Come on, under AUC. If you're going to AU and that's what you want, and the government has endorsed you, as you put it, enda kwa upole. Stop making no kwenda. Usituambie. Don't hold press conferences reminding us that you're going to AUC. Kwenda. Uki succeed, good luck. If you don't succeed, we shall deal with you ukiwa hapa. Ukipiga makelele, probably you'll go back to maandamano. But don't mambo ya clout chasing. Raila is a clout chaser. Kama kawaida. Very useless. I will repeat it. Raila is the biggest disappointment in the struggle of liberty in Kenya. The struggle for liberation in Kenya. Raila is the biggest disappointment. Hata Kalonzo ni afadhali. It is Raila. He hasn't done it once or twice. Raila is the biggest. And we shall remind him. Hata kama anadanganya watu every year, since 2017, he lost a chunk of people. That's why he lost in 2022, because 2017 vile alishikana na Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru was more brutal than this current president Ruto. Brutal. Alikuwa ananyonga, anaua watu. When he's shikana na Ruto, nani huyu Uhuru, that is when, I mean, he had been betraying people before that, but from 2017 supporters walimwacha kuacha watu kwa mataa. 2022 pia akakuja kana maurongo zake ndiko sijui nini, eventually ndio huyo. Ask him, and I want to speak to you specifically, you ODM Azimio supporters who voted for this conman. Go ask him where. Ask him this. The gharama of maisha, cost of living that you're fighting for, why don't you make a huge press conference, same as the one you're making with Mudavadi, and invite Mudavadi along with Ruto and explain to the people point by point why you had that NADCO ninio and why does the gharama ya maisha haijaenda chini vile you wanted. Go ask them, can you explain to us why the survey has not been opened like you said you demanded you wanted to be opened? Go ask them that. Go. Raila Odinga, supporters were ODM supporters and Azimio in general. Go ask Raila Odinga to explain to you and let him call a huge press conference like the one he just called with Mudavadi and invite every media station and let him explain to you what happened to the struggle, what happened to Canaan, because he said he's not going to stop until he goes to the State House, because his ninio was robbed of the elections. Tell him, at what point did you stop that and decided that the AUC chair was good for you? If you're a true leader, a true revolutionary, Raila Odinga, go ask Raila Odinga this. Why don't you sacrifice that position of AUC and come back and struggle and fight for the victory that you claim is rightfully yours? Because people shed blood so they can see you become the president because you said you were robbed. Why can't you follow through and finish up how you promised to go to State House, to open the server, to bring gharama ya maisha chini? What happened to that? Because now story may change. We're under AUC. No. Before you go to AUC, call another press conference. Azimio folks, go ask Raila that. Tell him to go call a press conference and explain what happened to gharama ya maisha ile ulisema lazima ienda chini. What happened to that? Because that's why you went to AUC. That's why you went to Bandamano. Ask him. Gharama ya maisha imeenda chini. What happened to that before you started talking about AUC? At what point did you decide to abandon the struggle of fighting the cost of living and opening the server and going to State House? What swayed your mind from that into going for the AUC? During that soul searching that you claim you had, that soul searching and consideration from your colleagues, did they talk to you about opening the server? What happened to that, Raila Odinga? You fake fuck. Explain to us. We are here listening. Call a press conference. Stop spitting to your supporters' graves. The young men and women who are ignorant, who did not know better, who truly believed that you won. Okay? Who risked their lives, not only to vote for you, but risked their lives being brutalized by the security forces, not only in 2017, but in 2022. Okay? And you never paid them back. You never even got there during that narco report to say, hey, listen, why can't the government just compensate the families or pay for those who are injured, who are arrested during those demonstrations? Call a huge press conference and explain that. You piece of shit. Explain that. Your supporters by the thousands have died, not only in Kisumu, in Mombasa, in Nairobi. While you sit there, standing with Musalia Mudavadi, telling us about Pan-Africanism, which you know nothing about. I don't even think you can spell Pan-Africanism. Giving us buzzwords like Afro-pessimist, Afro-optimist, and all this nonsense that you're coming up with. Listen close, you Raila Odinga, you fake fuck. Conman Raila Odinga. You don't deserve that AU seat. You don't even qualify to become the village chief. You don't even qualify to become an MCA. You didn't graduate. Show us your credentials. Faki appointed you to become the head of infrastructure. Okay? This is the questions that I want you Azimio people, whether you are ODM, Jubilee, whatever party you belong to, that Kalonzo party, I don't know what the name is. Ask this conman before he go to AUC and actually tell him to hold a press conference. If he fails to do that, petition the AUC to disqualify him based on that, because he led a lot of young youth, black youth, African youth who believed in him, who died because of his words, who died taking orders from him, who were never compensated, were never even mentioned. Baby Pendo, Baby Mora, Msando. Now he's rubbing shoulders with the very people who actually ordered the killing of these people. But he wants to talk to us about Pan-Africanism. This fake fuck. Ask him to hold a press conference. Don't let him go like that. This coward. This satanic leader. This devil worshiper. Ask him. Don't let him leave before he does do that. And if he does, tell Ruto to withdraw his name. Put somebody else. Before he answers that, a satisfactory answer is what we want as Azimio followers or followers of Raila Odinga or DM, whatever the case is. If he fails that, we shall petition in Addis Ababa for this man not to run. He is disqualified. Ask him, hold a press conference as big as that one with pomp and every idiot that we saw lining up there. Let Hassan Joho also be there. Okay? Upio Andai and all these idiots to answer that question. Let Raila answer those questions. Because before we get to Ruto, we should start with Raila for misleading youth who actually believed that they were going to remove Ruto. But in turn, lost their lives and they were never compensated. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, it is time to hold these politicians accountable for their action. We should not let them go. No, we don't care if it's Uhuru Kenyatta. We don't care if it's Margaret Kenyatta. We don't care if it's Ruto. We don't care if it's Moi. Even if it's Jomo himself. You have to answer the people. Just like Okiya Mtata say, one day, Ruto, you can be arrested for violating the Constitution. The same thing is overdue. All these ex-presidents, Uhuru Kenyatta and even Raila Odinga, should be arrested for their criminal behavior. Okay? For leading people to death. They cannot call themselves Pan-Africanist running for the AU seat while they cannot answer questions from their supporters. What happened to the cost of living? What happened to all those 20 million signatures that they say they're going to gather? What happened to that? What happened to opening the server? Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends and comrades, my name is Kenya Revolutionary. Subscribe, share, like, comment, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace and blessings.